book. So cursors we have done. So this is the subprograms topic. So what is procedure? What is function? What is package? Yeah, here is the database triggers. One chapter is there, right? Page number 143. Yeah, how many pages? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 43, 2. Yeah, totally 7 pages. Okay.
Okay.
Just you read these 7 pages, you'll be able to understand triggers in better way.
Okay.
Anyhow, I'll explain you procedures, functions, triggers, everything I'll explain you. Okay, just today you read this ara2.pdf. You read this triggers chapter. Just read it. You'll be able to understand.
Okay.
Okay. Even though you are not able to understand, just blindly read all the lines.
Okay.
Yeah. Will come in within 5 minutes. Okay, okay. Surya may join within 5 minutes. Today, if Surya joins, I will teach you about exception handling. Okay.
Okay.
Hi, Surya.
Hi, sir.
Yeah, Surya. So today we'll see about exception handling. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Let us see about the topic exception handling. So first of all, let you understand what is an exception. What is an exception basically? Can you tell me, Aravind, Surya? What is an exception?
Exclude.
Okay. Aravind, what can you say about exception?
Exception is something kind of failure. If something fails, what should we do?
Hmm. Exception is something went wrong. So at that situation, what to do? That is what exception, right? So programmatically to speak, exception is a runtime error. Okay. Exception is a logical error or a runtime error that occurs while execution of the program, right? Exception is a logical error or runtime error that occurs while execution of the program. That's what an exception, okay? For example, in a PLSQL program, suppose I'm doing simple arithmetical operations. So divided by, I'm performing divided by, is divided by 0. If it is divided by 0, will it work or will it fail?
It gives numerator value.
So zero divide is an exception in programmatically in any programming language. Zero divide is an exception, right?
Yep.
In PLSQL, whenever it occurs, whenever an exception occurs, it will throw an exception. Whenever the such kind of statements occurs, it will throw the exception, right? Generally, everywhere in every programming language, exception terminates the program all of the sudden, right? See, this is the arithmetical operations program. This is arithmetical operators program, right? You give number 1 is 3, number 2 is 7. It's okay, good. 3 by 7, right? If you give number 1 is 0, number 2 is 3, it's okay. But number 1 is something, number 2 is 0. Divisor is equal to 0. There is an exception. Program is not executed smoothly, right? When the exception occurs, it raised the exception, it thrown the exception, and it terminates the program over there. So program doesn't close smoothly, right? So here exception occurred. See, these all declarations are completed. It is accepting inputs. It's okay. Addition is done, subtraction is done, multiplication is done. When it is trying to perform the division, the exception occurred. There itself, it stops execution, it terminates the program. This is what an exception. This is what happens when an exception occurs. Are you clear? Surya, Arvind?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. But program is terminated all of the sudden due to exception is not a right case. It's not good. So we have to handle these exceptions, right? We must handle these exceptions. So we need exceptional handlers. We need exception handlers. Okay. So here we need exception handlers. So we need to handle the exception. Just you see here in the exception chapter, you can understand. See something like select statement that we use in PLSQL, right? You know the select statement that we use in PLSQL? Arvind, Surya. Select into statement.
Correct. Yeah, select into.
Did you remember select into statement or not?
Yes, yes.
Suppose you have written such select into command. Select into command is trying to return more than one record. Will it allow?
It is
I
only one.
told you, select into command can return only one record at a time, right?
Yep.
Select into command can return only one record at a time. In case it is trying to return multiple records, in case it is trying to return multiple records, it is not allowed. It is an exceptional case, right? It is an exception, right?
Correct.
So it raises an exception. It raises an exception that is more than one record is found. Okay. Okay. So the more than one record is returned. In case select statement you are using, you are trying to retrieve the data, but select statement is returning no record. Such data is not there in the table. You're trying to retrieve some data. Such data is not there in the table. Okay. So in such case, no data found exception occurs, right? In such case, no data found exception occurs. Okay. So cursor is there. We already worked with cursors, right? if the cursor is in already open state, the cursor is already in open state, we are trying to open the cursor again, right? So it is not possible, it's not possible to open the cursor which is already opened. Okay. So that is also exception case. You are trying to close the cursor which is already closed. Like this, so many exceptional cases are there. These exceptions you supposed to handle. You're supposed to handle the exception to terminate the program smoothly. You're supposed to handle the exceptions to terminate the program smoothly. Okay. This is exceptional handler. There are so many built-in exception handlers. There are so many exception handlers already there in your PLSQL. Just you see about exceptions. Yeah, this is exception handling. What is exception? This everything is there. So there are two different types of exceptions. One is predefined exceptions. Predefined exceptions are built-in exceptions. Those are that exception handlers already there in your PLSQL, in your Oracle. So using those exception handlers, we can handle the exceptions. Okay. See here, this is the syntax of how to write the exception handlers. So till now we have learned the declaration part where we can define all of our variables, where we can declare all of our variables. In between the begin and end, we can write body, but if at all here after begin, you can write all of your executable statements. At the end, before end, you can write the exception. Within the exception section, you can write exception handlers. Okay. Are you clear?
Yep.
So this is how you can write. What are the built-in exception handlers? So no data found is an exception handler. No data found is an exception. This occurs when the select statement does not return any data. No data found is an exception. It occurs when the select statement does not return any data, right? Okay. No data found.
Srini, question here.
Yeah.
Should we need to write the exception block explicitly for these built-in exceptions or no?
You have to write the exception block explicitly, whether it is built-in exception or user-defined exception handler, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
We handler.
Okay.
Okay. So too many rows. The select into statement return more than one row. This is the exception occurs when the select statement trying to return more than one row. Invalid cursor. The exception is raised when violate the cursor operation, right? Value error. Invalid number. 0 divide. Got it. Duplicate value on index. You are trying to insert the duplicate values into the primary key column or unique constraint column, unique column or indexed column, right? Where duplicates are not allowed. If you are trying to insert the duplicate records, this exception occurs. Okay. Understand? So these all are the various built-in exception handlers. Just please go through them, okay? These all are the various built-in exception handlers. Okay, both of you have gone through all the exceptions. Total 15 is given in the list.
Yep.
Okay, right. So now you see this program. This program, please go through this program. Surya,
Sir,
Arvind, go through the program which is appearing on the screen.
Yep.
Got it? So what happened in this program? EREC is a row type variable. NM is a ename type variable. Select star into EREC from EMP where ename is equal to so and so. So printing the employee salary is so and so, right? In case this select statement does not return any data, no data found exception occurs or not?
Yep.
So simply I have written exception block. In the exception block, when no data found, then do something. So here simply I am printing the message. Others means maybe unexpected other exceptions. Any other exception occurs, so nothing to do. This is how you can write the exception handling block. When the exception occurs, it will throw the exception and look into the exception block for the exception handlers. If at all relevant exception handler is there, that can be handle the exception, right? Are you clear now?
Yep.
This is how we can handle the exceptions. Exception handlers. See, one program we done here zero divide exception occur. Okay, so how to handle this? You have to write the exception block and you have to handle the zero divide exception, right? So see, here I am writing exception block. Exception block. I'm writing the exception handler 0 underscore 0 divide. Okay. Then what to do? Of course, anything you can do. Of course, anything you can do. So here I am writing dbms underscore output dot put underscore line second number so like this I have written a statement, exception handler I have written, then you execute it. So here I gave 3, second number 0, second number should not 0. So program is terminating smoothly and it is properly closing the program, right? Previously all of the sudden it is terminated the program. Now it is properly closing the program, right? Are you clear?
Yep.
So this is how we write exception handlers and we do handle the exceptions. This is how we do write exception handlers and we do write the exceptions. Okay. Similarly, we have some other programs also. You see, here. This is the loops programs. Okay. Here. See, here is the cursor program, right? This is the cursors program, right? So this program is working. But here you suppose I am not opening the cursor. Without opening, I am trying to fetch. Okay. Open statement I made as a comment. Without opening, I am trying to fetch the data. Will it show you error or not? Invalid cursor exception it is giving, right? Okay. Suppose cursor is already open. So if you keep this open statement within the loop, you keep this open statement within the loop, what happens? Again invalid cursor, right? Because without opening it is trying to fetch the data. Suppose I keep the open command and here and as well inside the loop, it might be trying to open the cursor which is already open. Yes, cursor already open. Like this, you have the exceptions. Got it? If you want to handle this exception, you can write invalid cursor Then, so write any statements, whatever you want to do at this situation, right? Okay. When cursor already open, then so write the statements whatever you want. Okay. Suppose this is how based program you have written, based on the program you have written, you must guess what are the possibilities of occurrence of the exceptions. What exceptions may occur, that you have to guess one thing. Okay. So suppose something you are not able to guess, there is a possibility of occurrence of some other also. So you can write when others, then. So when some other exception occurs, what to write, what to do? So like this, you can write the exception handlers. The same thing you see in this program. See, this is the program, same no data found. Here there is one more program. You try to understand this program, no data found, too many rows, both are there. Okay.
Yep.
So here select statement is there. So wherever there is a select statement, there is a possibility of occurrence of no data found. There is a possibility of occurrence of too many rows. These both exceptions may occur, right?
Yep.
So if other, nothing to do. See this program, here insert command is there. When you are trying to insert, there is a possibility of you are inserting duplicate records. When you are trying to insert duplicate records, it gives the exception dupval on index. This is another program. Okay.
So, Srini,
Yeah, yeah.
so user-defined exception is nothing but another kind of function, right? Where you define the definition.
User defined exception means we declare the exception, we raise the exception, we handle the exception.
Yeah, the declaration of the exception will be a
Hmm.
separate program, right?
No, 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 no. I will show you.
Okay.
So this built-in exceptions part, you are clear, right?
Yep, yep. Built-in part is clear.
Surya.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, user defined exception. For example, you see there are some cases, there are some conditions, those are exceptional cases, but as per the system, they are not exceptions. As per me, as per my condition, as per my rule, it is an exception, right? So I need to treat that as an exception. I need to treat that as an exception. So I need to handle the raise the exception. I need to handle the exception, that is user defined exception. So in case of user defined exception, you need to declare the name of the user defined exception within the declaration section. Raise the exception explicitly within the executable statements part using raise statement, right? Once the exception is raised, handle the exception. Once the exception is raised, handle the exception in the exception handling part. Okay. Handle the exception in the exception handling part. See here. So declare invalid pay is an exception. Here, this is how I declare the exception in the declaration part. Okay. Invalid pay is the exception. It is not a variable. It is an exception. User defined exception I declared. Arvind, Surya, are you clear about this?
Yes, sir.
Then pay is a simple number input. If pay is not between 2 5,000, then raise the exception invalid pay, right? Understand? So here I check the condition. When my condition is not satisfied, okay, then I want to raise the exception. So I declare the exception, I raise the exception. I raise the exception when I want this exception to be occur, okay? Then in the exception handling, I write the exception name, then handle the exception. This is simply user defined exception. Got it?
Yep.
Surya, do you understand about this program?
Yes, sir.
So in so many cases, built-in exceptions are not enough for us. So we want something, whatever we expect, we are expecting as per us guessing or as per our logic, we want something that whatever you want, some kind of exceptions that you can handle using different exceptions. See, salary is a variable, employee number is a variable, sal error is an exception I declared. Employee number I am taking input, salary I am taking input. If salary is 0, then raise error. Otherwise, update the statement, execute update statement. So when salary is 0, salary must be greater than 0. This message I am displaying. This is a meaningful program, right? Understand? See here, salary is a variable, employee number is a variable, B job variable. Okay. UPD error is an exception. Employee number and salary I am taking. I am selecting the job into the variable job from EMP where employee number is equal to so and so. If job is equal to manager, then salary is greater than 7,000. Raise update error. If salary is if job is clerk, salary is more than 4,000, then raise error. If job is analyst, salary is 2,400, then raise error, right? Otherwise, only you execute the update statement and print. So in these cases, I don't want update to be executed. So I am raising an exception. Whenever exception occurs, it goes to exception handler. In the exception handler, one is no data found because I am writing select statement. This is built-in exception. Update error is user-defined exception. Got it? This is how you can work with user-defined exceptions. User-defined exception means you declare the exception, you raise the exception whenever you want on your own condition, and you handle the exception in the exception handler. Clear? This is what about exception handling. Surya, Arvind?
Yep.
Clear about exception? Are you comfortable?
Yes, sir.
Arvind, built-in exceptions, user-defined exceptions. Only the thing is, this kind of programs in this chapter, whatever programs are given, you read the programs and understand. The similar program you can write in your SQL editor and you can execute them, so you will be able to understand much more clear. Okay, you will be able to get a hands-on also. Okay, Arvind.
Okay.
Yeah, this is about exception handling. So next chapter, tomorrow, I'm going to discuss about subprograms, stored procedures, functions, packages. Stored procedures, functions, packages. Those things we discuss tomorrow. Surya, have you gone through the stored procedures video?
Yes, sir. I understood.
Stored procedures you understood, right?
Yes, sir.
What
And
is
it included triggers also.
trigger? I will teach you. So stored procedure, function, package. These three things, are you comfortable, Surya?
Yeah, that's good, sir.
Okay. Then can I skip the stored procedure function? Arvind, Surya, if you want me to teach, I will teach you again. So if you are comfortable, sir, again you are telling it is a boring thing. If you say like that, then I will skip and I will go to triggers.
Yeah, you can skip.
Surya, what do you say?
Yeah, you can skip, sir.
Okay. So tomorrow we'll see. Tomorrow at beginning of the class, I will talk to you few things. Then I can understand how good you understood. Then I will decide myself whether to teach or skip.
Yep.
Tomorrow. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.